Hello, this video goes over an introduction for the Waterslide project if you are choosing to do this as one of your projects for 6th grade integrated sciences. Okay, so the place you're going to want to start is the project introduction. It looks like this. So the top says that the goal is to design and create the fastest water slide using the materials allowed and within the given criteria. So the materials you are allowed to use for your water slide are cardboard rolls, regular cardboard, aluminum foil or tin foil, Dixie cups, rulers, masking tape, duct tape, scissors, popsicle sticks, and handouts. The criteria, so that's the thing that, or these are like the requirements, would be that the slide must have a collection pool to catch people at the end. So there has to be some sort of pool or setup that catch people at the end of your water slide. There must also be a way for people to get from the ground to the top of the slide. So you can't just magically get to the top. There has to be a way that that happens. And the slide must have at least 3 twists and turns. Here's some vocabulary you might want to look up if you're not familiar with it. These will show back up when you complete the reflection when you are all done with the project. So some vocab words here are energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, friction, gravity, and speed. If you're not familiar with these, I would encourage you to look them up or ask a friend or ask your teacher, and they can help you if you've never heard them before or if you want a refresher. Okay, the next important piece is the checkpoints. If you remember from your first checkpoint, this is how you're graded along the way. So this is how you get graded as you're working on the project. There are always 3 checkpoints. The first checkpoint for the Waterslide project is on this slide. It says the first checkpoint focuses on the design of your water slide. Reminder, you need 3 rough sketches for full credit on the rubric. Only 1 sketch has to meet the criteria below. Sketch is neat and easy to understand. Materials to be used are labeled, and the correct measurements for each piece are labeled. Once you're done with checkpoint 1, check in with your teacher so you can get your grade, and then move on to checkpoint 2. Checkpoint 2 is about the physical building of your water slide. So it says that teamwork was used. The people, so the marbles that is, on your slide remain safely on there at all times so they don't go flying off. And 6 people, which are represented by marbles, must move down the slide as quickly as possible without touching each other. That is also worth 3 points. So when you finish checkpoint 2, check in with your teacher again, get your score, and then when you're ready, move on to checkpoint 3. The last checkpoint is on the redesign of your water slide. So now that you've already made it once and tested it, our goal is always to see if we can improve it and make it better. So for checkpoint 3, you need a redesigned sketch. It should be neat and easy to understand. So it should be big enough that people can understand what you're trying to do. You should include what materials you plan to use and what the measurements are. Okay, as you are working, there's one worksheet called the time and speed worksheet, I guess we'll call it, that you should complete. It looks like this. What you're going to do is you're going to test how long it takes for all 6 marbles to get down your slide. So what you're going to do is you're going to record 3 trials. So that means you'll do this 3 times and record the time each time you do it in this table here. So you record your data there, there, and there, and then you will calculate the average time it took. If you need help calculating the average, again, ask a friend or classmate or ask your teacher and they will be happy to help. There's also 2 questions that you can answer with your partner. It says, did your water slide perform like you expected? Why or why not? So, did you get the results you expected? Yes or no? If you didn't, that's totally okay. That will help you with your redesign if it didn't go as planned. Second question says, what changes might you make to improve the performance of your water slide? This is an important question because it's going to help you think through and decide what you could change to make it better the second time around. Okay, now the rubric comes into play when you're all done. So that means you've made your original water slide, you've tested it, you recorded the time, and then you went through the redesign process as well and tried to improve it. You should have 3 grades for the checkpoints before you move on to the rubric and you're all done. So at this point, check and make sure you have a grade for checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2, and checkpoint 3. If you're all good there, the rubric is your next step. Here's what the rubric looks like. This is what your teacher will use to grade your project at the very end. So you can see you get graded on safety in the classroom. The score you can get on safety is a 1, 2, 3, or 4. A 4 is the best. It's the highest score you can get. You get a score on craftsmanship, so that's how neat your work is and if you took time to make it look nice. You get more points also for developing designs. So when we look at checkpoint 1, it said that you had to have 3 sketches. That's where this comes into play. You want to have at least 3 initial sketches to get the full credit here. And then the last part is criteria. Here are the criteria to keep in mind. We talked about those already once, but to get all the credit for the criteria, if you want to get 4 points, you have to do all 3 of these. So you have to have a collection pool at the end. There has to be a way for people to get to the ground, or from the ground to the top of the slide, and it has to have at least 3 twists and turns. Okay, when you're all done with those things, the last thing to do is the reflection. Even if you worked with a partner on the Waterslide, you should each complete the reflection on your own and turn that in when you're done. I think there's 5 questions here, so the first 2 are shown here. Question 1, you'll describe your initial Waterslide design. It says, consider including what materials you used, why you chose those materials, and a sketch if it helps. Make sure to include at least 2 sentences. Question 2 is about how your first design, so your original one, performed. So how did it go? It says include one thing that worked well and one thing that did not work well. So what's one thing that went okay or went really great, and then what's something that didn't go so well? And that's totally okay to talk about that too. We want to reflect on things that go well and things that we can improve. And then there's a few more. It says, what did you change for your Waterslide redesign and why did you choose those things? That's question 3. So what did you change for your redesign? Question 4 says, did your Waterslide redesign perform better or worse than your first design? So did your redesign, was it better or worse than the original? And why do you think it happened? Last question 5 is, what is one thing you learned about kinetic energy, potential energy, friction, or speed? And how does this relate to your Waterslide? As you work on these questions, feel free to check in with your teacher if you have any questions about anything. Else turn it in when you are all done. Thank you.